wouldn't let it happen this year. So Zoom is what you get. Sorry about that. I don't know how much formality we need here, but I'm the president of the local, Greg Miracle. I'm an S&E member. I work for Eagle, and I was the former S&E unit president before I became the local president. So been a state employee for 26 years and a union employee for just as long. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it, as we say earlier. And I think to my left here, you're right, I think, by the way Zoom works, is Claire Core, our new executive director, who was hired in September.
Yes.
And she, luckily for me, is the first speaker on the agenda today. So
I am the first speaker. Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Core. Like Greg said, I am the new executive director. I started September 2nd. Thanks to Greg, Carmela, and Brad for choosing me. I love it here. I feel like I'm home. I bring 27 years of union leadership experience with me, everything from filing grievances to bargaining to arbitration. So I know what everybody goes through, what everybody deals with, and it helps me and it helps you. So love being here. Thank you. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today for the annual meeting. Like Greg said, we will work in 2026 to make this a interesting, fun, exciting, interactive, family-oriented annual meeting. Hopefully sometime when the weather is warmer than 10 degrees below zero that we have today. You know, it has been a little while since we've gathered. This is my first annual meeting. It was my first executive board meeting we had prior to this in person. I love the energy. I love what we all bring. Love the questions and the interaction that we've had today. So this really marks a turning point for our local. You know, Greg has been on since January in his role as president, and me just joining in September. We've got new staff and things to talk about, and we're just really excited about what we can do going forward.
Yeah, like Claire said, we're standing at a moment of transition and renewal. We've had some legal issues and some growing pains and some reorganization struggles and some staff firing. All of these things have demanded a lot of our time and energy over this past 10 months, 11 months, and it's just we've entered into a point where we can stop focusing on the past, and we're going to refocus onto the future and progress and make this union stronger, and focus on things that matter most to our members and to our union brothers and sisters. We're going to build a future rooted in transparency and solidarity and growth. That's going to be our focus. So in order to do that, we need to renew our vows for stability, to create stability in the local. We need to renew our vow of accountability, make sure everybody's being accountable for their role in making this place run smoothly, and we need to build a strong foundation. So over the past year, we've taken deliberate steps to strengthen the governance and the financial oversight of our local. Recommendation moving forward, we're going to recommend that we remove the 3 auditor positions from our Constitution and bylaws. And among other changes that we're going to propose in our Constitution and bylaws. So unfortunately, in the near future, you'll be seeing a vote for ratification of a new set of Constitution and bylaws, but there will only be minor changes that focus on, like I said, accountability and stability and a strong foundation. One of the reasons for that change is that the 3 financial auditors that we put into the Constitution last year, it's really, to put it bluntly, it's above our ability to train financial auditors appropriately. And those 3 auditors are appointed by election, and so they could change every 3 years when we have new elections, and we would constantly be in this process of trying to figure out how to train new auditors. When the reality is we already have an accounting firm that we pay a monthly bill to that performs that very function for us, and essentially for free, because we're paying them no matter what. So it makes no sense to have, it's just untenable to have the auditors in our constitutional bylaws. But we will still, we're changing board policies, we're changing local policies, we're changing the constitutional bylaws to bring more accountability and financial accountability in particular into the local. Leave.
Is that me?
That's you.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Should we be like a broadcast?
We should, maybe.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for that report, Greg. And to continue Greg's message about accountability and transparency, we have complied with the International Union, the SEIU, and fulfilled our 20% requirement. And the 20% is also known as one organizing in the SEIU world. And the one organizing is where all SEIU locals contribute to national organizing efforts. So the requirement is that we propose what our budget is going to be for the following year. So for instance, this year we had to propose what our budget was going to be for 2026. And then we take a look at all of our per capita that we pay to the international union, to our labor councils, to the state council and such. And we come up with a figure. We have a dollar figure. So we reduce that budget by the per caps, and then that number, we take 20% of that figure, and that's what is required to go to the international union. But what they have done is they have allowed all of the local unions to create their own internal and external organizing plan, and to ask to keep some of that 20%. So what we did this year, or actually for 2026, is we created a plan for internal organizing. As you know, we're a public union. We are governed under the Janus determination from the Supreme Court, where you can opt in and opt out of union dues membership at any given time. So we are always looking to strengthen our already existing units in state government bodies. So by doing that, we've created a plan to strengthen our efforts to sign more people on, and we are also looking to strengthen our efforts on the external organizing realm. So we are looking at the possibility of organizing Grand Valley State University student workers. We've had robust conversations with the executive board, with the executive officers, and we need to make a determination whether we can go forward and organize these students. The student, Connor Lindstrom, is the most dynamic kid I've ever met. He reached out to me probably the end of September, and he would like to organize, and with our help, 2,700, almost 2,800 student workers at both the Grand Rapids and the Allendale campuses. And he is basing this off of Cal State has organized their student workers, Oregon State has organized, and Washington State. Washington State is organized by the UAW and already has a contract that's in effect, and they are running along smoothly. Oregon State and Cal State still under negotiations. So what we need to determine as a local union is if we have the resources and if we have the financial resources to help these kids out and to organize them. But all of that being said, we had conversation earlier about what a fabulous opportunity that this would be, not only for 517M, but for the students themselves. Instilling the union values and the union mission and the collective bargaining and coming together as one and having one voice and having that protection in a workplace, what valuable lessons that will be for these students if we make this move, and then they're going to graduate and they're going to say, I want to join a union, I want to find a union employer, or I want to get in, I hire into this organization and they're not union, so what do I have to do to organize them? It's really instilling these values in this younger generation. And then groundbreaking for 517M, because, hey, we can say we just organized student workers at Grand Valley State University. What other universities and colleges want to jump on board and have these workplace protections and one voice and just, I mean, really that protection and the benefits that come along with union membership. So a lot of things to look at, but bottom line is going back to the 20%. Sorry, I think I kind of got sidetracked. We paid the International Union $289,350 out of our 2026 budget to go to the one organizing efforts. And as we know, when you build others up, we are all lifted up. So the more density that SEIU has collectively across our nation, the more that it helps us politically and with our own power and our ability to attract and promote union membership here in Michigan. Okay. So one very exciting piece, when I joined in September, my goal was to have a full staff by the end of the year, and we are almost there. I am proud to say we are almost there. We do have some folks standing on the edge of retirement. Dave Corey, he's been with us 36 years. He just celebrated his anniversary October 4th or 6th, I believe, 36 years. He is retiring February 13th, 2026, and he has a countdown calendar on, and the final countdown is his ringtone. Anyway, Jake Patrick, am I right? There's Jake. Thanks, Jake.
He's off camera.
He's off camera. He's over in the corner helping us in the background. Jake is our new information officer, and Dave and Jake have been working closely together since October 27th. Since October 27th, and Dave is going to turn the baton over to Jake, and Jake is going to be our guy. He is already our guy. Already love him dearly, and he is going to add so much value to our team. That new fresh set of eyes, that creative flair that he brings to our team, and we are just going to do great things together. Joe Balgown is sitting over on the other side of Greg. Joe is, I've known Joe for quite a while. We worked together on the old Newsboys of Greater Lansing. And Joe is just an amazing unionist and an amazing human. He brings to us the boots on the ground, the organizing, the analyzing, the resources, the relationship building, the creativity on, really thinking about how we can organize internally, externally, how we can get SEIU on the forefront of such things as AI. So that'll be coming next month when we can take a look. But, Joe's been on since November 24th, and he's already given me two very thorough reports to look through. One is on the future of SEIU in relation to the organizing efforts, and the one yesterday that he presented to me was about AI and how we can get out in front of it and how SEIU can really be the groundbreaker and the headliner when it comes to AI in our workforce. So next up, we have Larry Sadrowski. Joe is going to be working with the state units, and Larry Sadrowski is going to be supporting our health support services team and the City of Saginaw and St. Joseph County Road Commission. Larry Sadrowski is an iron worker of 25 years, and then he switched his efforts to the federal mediation industry, where he worked as a federal mediator from 2003 until this spring, when his position was eliminated due to the cuts in DOGE. So Larry brings such a diverse skill set to our team as well. He has worked with both public and private unions across the United States, and not only his trades experience, but everything from workplace disputes to contract collective bargaining disputes, employer disputes. He's done and seen just about everything, and it's been very exciting. Larry just started with us on Monday. It's been very exciting to get phone calls from other SEI unions and non-SEI unions on how the heck did you get Larry on your team. So we're really thrilled to have Larry's expertise and knowledge and to bring that to SEIU. So these folks will be learning our culture. They will be learning SEIU values and how we organize and represent our members, and how do we move forward with member engagement, whether it be organizing our community services that we'll talk about later. How do we bring our voice to everybody and not just the few that are sitting at the table or sitting on Zoom. They're going to bring their fresh perspectives, their skills and experiences. They are going to strengthen us moving into 2026. Just very, very excited to have them on board. So welcome to those of you in the room. Congratulations to Dave, who is getting ready to retire. And hopefully Kevin, Christine, and Howard will stay around a little bit longer, and we will definitely have a full and robust staff. But if not, we will be prepared. And we definitely have that legacy plan that we'll talk about. So, no questions?
There'll be time at the end for questions.
Okay, time at the end for questions. Okay, moving right along. We successfully negotiated the USA contract, which is the contract here that covers the SEIU Local 517 staff. This is for their 2026 to 2029 contract. Myself, Greg, and Carmela on my other side represented the employer, SEIU 517. Clint, Christine, and Andrea represented the union. We met once in person, and then the rest we handled via email. We did a little research, but it was successfully ratified yesterday. So we are proud to say that we have an official contract beginning January 1. Just to go over some of those highlights, there will be a new floating holiday in the contract. This can be used for your birthday. It could be used as a mental health day, or you can place it wherever you'd like. If you want to, attach it to the 4th of July, since that's only one day and it always ends up being in the middle of the week, you can stick it there. But anyway, just really another day to recharge and refocus. Across the board, there will be a 3% raise for all staff. We streamlined compensatory time procedures. So for instance, today we have Dave, Jake, and Ashley working all day, and how to make sure that they have a good work-life balance. So taking the time today, which is considered overtime, and giving them time and a half compensatory time, where before it was just straight time. So if they worked, 3 hours overtime, typically if they were getting paid for it, it would be a time and a half. But when it came to compensatory time, they would only get that straight time. So now it's making sure that their hours worked is equal to what they would get paid federally. Sick time leave, what we did is we took language from the FMLA guidelines and placed that with our sick time to make sure that all of our employees are protected. Because we are a smaller employer, we don't have the protections under the federal guidelines. So making sure that everybody has the protections and peace of mind going forward if anything were to happen, that they will not lose their job. A really good one was the increase in bereavement for immediate family. It was 3 days, and now we've pushed it to 5 days. And of course, they are always able to take their own personal time if they need extra time. And then one really good one was a cleaner job classification process for employees who are bidding on open positions. The way it stands in the contract today, everybody fell under the language, most senior qualified gets the position, but we have various job classifications here, just like we do in the workplaces that we represent. So we were really trying to fit a circle into a square and saying that if you are in this job classification, that you would automatically qualify, let's say for a labor representative, but you may not have the skills. So this just states job classifications and the post-bid process within. Well, like I said, we ratified that yesterday afternoon. So yay to the team, and yay to the staff that thought it was good enough to sign off on it.
That was long.
That was long. Okay. Okay, Greg, back to you.
So one of the things that's really going to be important to us, and as always, it's not new, I guess, is developing leaders and engaging members. So membership development and leadership development is very, very important to any union. So in that vein, we're going to have another steward training. It'll be this coming February, the 21st and 22nd, which is a Saturday and Sunday again. This time it's going to be at the Kellogg Center in East Lansing, so MSU Kellogg Center. It's going to look a lot like it did last year with the MSU Labor Law Program providing a half day of training instead of a whole day of training like last year. And then that will leave a day and a half for more relevant, I'll say, breakout sessions. We're going to try to have some that are directed to less, let's say newer stewards that have less experience, and some breakout sessions that are more tailored to more seasoned, shall we say, stewards. Goes a little more in depth, and I think that's in response to some feedback. I was going to say complaints, but it was feedback last year that said that I think half of the people felt that the training was too strong, too in the weeds for them, and half the people felt like it was too remedial, so we're going to try to break that into more appropriate sessions for the experience level of stewards. So the next, Elena Simmons Gibson was here from the HSS unit. She and Roland decided to head back to Detroit early and listen to this session on the drive home. But she is the HSS unit director, newly appointed, and she was sworn in this morning. It was very lovely to meet her and swear her in, and I think she's going to be an asset to the board. Another really cool thing that we've got going is, and you may have heard about it, is the ambassador program. The state ambassador program is really designed to serve several purposes, but the most important goal is to identify and develop new leaders from the membership. So obviously you can look around this table and see that the majority of us, save for one, are pretty long in the tooth. And we need to start cultivating younger members to get involved and fill some of these roles. So that's really important for us. This ambassador program creates meaningful opportunities for members to become more involved, gain a broader understanding of the union's missions, values, and structure, and deepen their commitment to both the local and the membership as a whole. State ambassadors are individuals who care deeply about the local and the members they represent. The participants in this program gain firsthand exposure to how the union operates, how decisions are made, and how advocacy and representation work at a broader level. This experience helps prepare ambassadors to step into leadership roles in the future with knowledge, confidence, and a strong connection to the membership. Another thing, the leadership, in addition to leadership development, the program expands our communication network. So the ambassador program serves as key communicators, helping us to share important information, updates, initiatives from the local down to individual members. And it also provides a mechanism for feedback to come up from the local members through the ambassadors to leadership. So it's a really important two-way communication street that's been set up. So if you have seen some emails inviting you to join the ambassador program, I'd encourage you to think really, really long and hard about if you're interested in doing it, because it is very valuable. It's turn the page, see if I'm still speaking.
Yeah. Yes, you are. You got a couple more.
So by broadening the scope of our member involvement, the State Ambassador Program strengthens our collective voice. Ambassadors act as advocates, messengers, connectors, ensuring members feel informed, heard, and represented. Extremely important. It's hard for us to kind of sometimes top-down communicate that we care, doesn't come through in the communications. So it's important to have that more organic communication to members and back the feedback. But ultimately, the program, provides a strong pipeline of members who will be prepared to step up into a bigger role in the local, and I think that's the most valuable thing. So please consider participating. The other topic that I have to talk about now is the political strength and accountability. So we, 517M and the state council, all the other 3 SEIU locals in Michigan, have kind of renewed our vow to work together to hold the politicians accountable. So in the past, politicians would come to each of the locals and ask for our endorsements, and we really had no real good mechanism to hold them accountable for the promises that they had made when they came to us seeking our endorsement. And we've gotten together with the 4 locals and said, how do we fix this problem? And we come up with a plan to hold them accountable. And when they come and talk to us, they come and talk to us individually first, and then we talk to them as the state council, and we let them know that we are watching and we know what they did the last time, and we're going to hold them accountable, and here's what that's going to look like. And if you can't agree to these things, don't talk to us. Don't come asking for a handout. So in that vein, we've had some really interesting conversations with some political folks. We've talked to Mark Totten. I don't know why I always say
Totten too.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Mark Totten, who's running for Attorney General, right?
Yep.
Seemed like a really cool guy.
Yeah, I really liked him.
William Lawrence, who was running for
Tom Barrett's seat, 7th Congressional District.
Adam Hollier, who's running for Secretary of State.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Which it was a really funny question, because I asked him, why would a guy like you want to run for what's basically a job? He thought that was hilarious. He was like, well, it's an important job, and and it's an opportunity to serve. He had a good answer.
Yeah, he understood a lot of science too. Yeah, that we were impressed that a state representative had just really a lot of knowledge and education and about our workers. Yeah, so he either did his research or he knew what he was talking about in general. And
of those 3 specific candidates, he was the most informed about our state and local government employees. He was on the ball. So yeah, that's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah. So, okay. So Greg talked about the state council. So as he said, the state council is comprised of the 4 locals that make up SEIU Michigan, and they are 517M, Healthcare Michigan, Michigan Corrections Officers, and Local 1. And we come together. The executive board is made up of the executive director and the president, and then the entire board has those 2 leaders as well, along with the political organizers, the community organizers, the organizing, and other top leaders from the locals. And we really talk together as one unit, talk about how the political climate affects what we do. And it's really interesting. Last month was my first month, just to really learn that, even though we are one SEIU, our issues are very, very unique and diverse. So very eye-opening, very educational for me. And one of the biggest conversations that we had at our board retreat last month is, how do we hold these politicians accountable? How do we say, okay, we're going to interview you, we're going to vote on you and agree to endorse you and give you money and give you boots on the ground, phone banking, door knocking, whatever it takes. And then when we come to you and you turn your back on us, what is our recourse? If we say, hey, we're mad at you, they're like, yeah, but she needed me. So those types of things. So we created a strategic planning group, and it's going to be myself, Ray Schultz from Michigan Corrections, Jen Root from Healthcare Michigan, and Brandis Mullen from Local 1. We are meeting next Friday as our first kickoff meeting to start talking about what this endorsement process means for SEIU Michigan, and how do we in fact hold these politicians accountable to our needs and our voice. It should be that reciprocal relationship and, reciprocity here. We give you, you give us. None of this, okay, bye, I got what I needed. So we just got, as we were sitting here in the executive board meeting, we just got some urgent emails from Beth Bird, who is our lobbyist. She is also the executive director of the state council. And evidently, this is, well, not evidently, but this is something that we're going to have to turn our focus on. Like this afternoon when everybody leaves, I'm going to be figuring out what we need to do. And not to get all into it because you will all get a communication about this, but Matt Hall, Speaker Matt Hall, has used a little known loophole from 1984 to unilaterally gut critical FY25, fiscal year 25 budget items by stripping funding from projects designated as work projects, a label that simply allows funds to be spent over 48 months. But this is the kicker. This mechanism has never been used in Michigan history. Not once, not ever. So there's a lot more information. Some of the services that this is going to directly affect is weighing heavily on the essential community services across the state: prenatal and infant care, food security, infrastructure, public safety, environmental improvements, workforce development, affordable housing, small business support, and of course, let's ding the kids, childcare. Just in time for Christmas. So there is a letter that Greg and I approved, a coalition sign-on letter a day or two ago that we put our name on. It really describes the magnitude and breadth of the cuts. The cuts, get this, totals $645 million. And it highlights, this letter highlights how the cuts will devastate both rural and urban communities. So it appears that there is going to be a rally on Tuesday in front of the Capitol. So we will disseminate this information, break it down so it's a little bit like bullet points, easier to read, easier to understand, give you information. I am going to be on a call Sunday at 7 p.m., get all of the details. So look for a communication from us Monday before lunch on what this means for us. And if you can at any time join the rally, and I'll have those times too. Okay.
So speaking on that last night, I can't remember where I read it, but last night I did read about that, and it did talk that this is going to, the budget that which they voted for that was going to increase our road funding and things like that, now it's going to cancel quite a few of the road projects, because now we're going to fall multiple tens of millions of dollars short of our budget. And that also equated to the gas tax. It's also going to take a shortfall of the gas tax for the other things they were planning on funding. And they weren't really sure. They were still looking for the details too.
Okay.
As to how that was going to affect the next 3 years of financial planning for state infrastructure.
Yeah, so we will get that out to you all ASAP, and as the information comes in, we will get it out to you as well.
So wear warm clothes on Tuesday because we might be asking you to go to the Capitol.
Is it going to warm up by then yet, or is it still 20 below zero?
So on that sour note,
next,
the next,
that's a good one though.
Yeah, this order of business is a little bit more exciting. So sometimes we actually have good luck politically, and one of the things we had really good luck this year with was we convinced the other five, because UAW is included in this, the other locals that we should nominate Dave Berridge, a former SEIU S&E member, a former S&E president, to the Civil Service Commission. And begrudgingly, the other locals agreed that Dave Berridge was a good fit, and we proposed nominating Dave Berridge to the governor, and she agreed. She chose Dave Berridge. He started on the commission in January, which turned the commission from a two Republican appointee to two Democrat appointee to a 3 Democrat appointee, 1 Republican appointee. So the way it works is there's 4 members of this commission. They're appointed by the governor every 2 years for an 8-year term. And so, as you can see, when Snyder left, he had 4 Snyder appointees on that board. And so slowly over time, Whitmer has been chipping away and appointing her appointees to the board. So Dave Barrage was instrumental in getting our annual reauthorization bullcrap canceled. So that may not sound like a big deal to you, to the state employees, because it's, you know, just a simple thing you did in self-service every year, but it is a huge deal to us. The amount of money and effort and time and attention it took to ensure that every single one of our dues-paying members reauthorized was. So just being able to eliminate that provision of the civil service rules is huge. And of course, there's a bunch of other things that we want the commission to change, to make changes to. One of those being we want to be able to, like, right of assignment and transfer rights and seniority. All of these very important things were taken away from us by the Civil Service Commission under Snyder. So we have this laundry list of things that we want to get back. And one of the things I can say about Dave Barrage is he is a slow, methodical thinker. He loves to get into the nitty-gritty and process and learn. And he looks like he's going to make the wrong decision, because what he's trying to do is get everybody to come around to his way of thinking, to build consensus, and then boom, he hits you with the right decision. He will always do the right things for us, but he scares the crap out of you right before he
kind of does.
So we've got that going for us. Well, movie I like. What's that? I said Democratic appointments. Dave Barrage is an independent.
That's how you get 3 people on your side.
Yeah.
Find somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
That was really, that's why there was a choice between Jeremy Tripp, who was Republican, and Dave Barrage. But I think George is the one who first brought his name up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're glad that he's on board.
He's going to do great things for us.
He did that.
Yes. So I didn't get into it, but we had a Civil Service Commission meeting Wednesday. And so long and short of it is, the Department of Treasury wants to take away their 20% raises that all of their employees got, because they said they're no longer necessary. And the reason they were necessary to begin with is because the IRS was hiring and poaching all of the Department of Treasury's inspectors. And so the Department of Treasury got in on that 20% deal and offered some of their employees 20%, their inspectors, so that they wouldn't be, swayed to leave. And actually, some of them even chose to come back to the state of Michigan from the IRS because of that 20%. One guy even had an email to HR where he said, okay, I'm willing to accept this if this is permanent. And the email response from HR was, yes, it's permanent. So now IRS is no longer hiring, and the Department of Treasury wants to say, okay, no more 20% for these people. And Dave Barrage listened to 2 hours of testimony from these employees, and he reprimanded several of them for speaking in circles and taking too long, wasting time, talking about stuff that he'd already read in their packet. And we were like, oh, this is not going to go well. And all of a sudden, it came time to make a decision, and Dave Barrage goes, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I read the Department of Treasury's proposal, and 10 minutes into reading it, I knew it was bullshit. And he says, I'm here to tell you there is no way in my 8 years on this board I will ever vote to take away 20% from anybody. And
you guys fought really, really hard in the retention and recruitment for employees across the state. And one of the things that you're still fighting for is for the corrections staff, the doctors, nurses, pharmacists, secretaries, they're 20%. And now, as it looks like they're starting to get it, how is this going to affect them? Because on our end of it, from MDOT, they gave us these great raises, a lot of guys said, well, maybe I'm going to go back to MDOT now. And they come back to MDOT and they bring all the qualifications, all the certifications, everything needed to do these jobs. And then when they do the interviews, and then they say, well, we're not going to, you should be here, but we're going to start you here. They start them out at the very beginning of a pay grade. And what ends up happening, those people end up turning around, walking away from it. And you go through a process for one position where it takes you a year to hire somebody, over 3, 4, 5 different interviews, because the agency, to fight back on that 20%, not having to pay those people, wants to go all the way back to the very beginning and not pay that worth. And we are in the midst of losing approximately, what did Brad Wyford say about by 2027, 2028, about 40 to 45% of MDOT staff is in that retirement bubble. They're actually at retirement age now, but will just be staying that extra couple of years for those that may be in the retirement system or otherwise.
Yeah.
So what you guys have fought for is, I mean, hopefully he can keep that going so that's not, it doesn't become a lose-lose issue.
So what I know about that issue is there's a way to leave state service and retain your standing for a year. And after that year, you can extend that standing for another 6 months. And that's it. If you left the state and you're more past that year or that year and 6 months, you do not come back with the same standing that you left with. So that's why you would be at the lowest pay bracket. That's simply how the HR processes work. So moral of the story is, if you're going to leave the state and you might come back, make sure you choose the option that allows you to retain your standing, and then make sure you extend it for that extra 6 months. Otherwise, it's simply an HR process. It's like a connect the dots, you know.
Well, for them, they just brushed off on civil service.
Yeah.
We're just following civil service rules.
I get it.
So at least, typically even the state, most people do negotiate a fair wage. And the state usually obliges, or at least they used to oblige pre 2025 to recruit those people, and they're no longer doing that now.
Sure. And I will say that, we're hearing that there is a lot of pressure from the federal cuts and from, guys like Matt Hall doing these things in Michigan. The departments are all scared that their budgets are going to be wrecked. So there's that too. Claire?
Hi, Lee. All right. So, everyone.
Back to you,
Hey,
Claire.
you still with us? Okay. Local 517M has recommitted to community services. And we have talked before, and you all know, when we lift each other up, we all rise. We all better ourselves, and collectively our community succeeds. We're happy, we're healthy, we're fed, we have the services and support that we need from one another. So by our recommitting, this Monday, December 15th, the staff holiday luncheon has now turned into a staff volunteer event, and then our holiday luncheon. So this Monday, we will be going to the Southside Community Kitchen, and we will be cooking, preparing, and serving a lunch to our homeless population. And we will have a cup of coffee, a water, juice, whatever, with everyone after, help clean up, and then we will go to our holiday luncheon at One North and have some together time and wrap up our year. And then, we really want to start highlighting what we do around our local. It's so important. We do ourselves a disservice. And I think we get stuck in like our facing communications, or maybe not that, but our sentiment, the unions are political. The unions do this, the unions do that. We're union thugs. How many times have you heard that? But you know what? We're not. We're good people doing good things, trying to better everyone around us. And we don't promote that. We don't talk about it. And if we do, sometimes it just kind of folds in with the rest of the business. And we really need to start highlighting the good that we do, the mission that we have of lifting each other up, giving to others, and providing for. So one thing that really touched my heart was Clint Bryant, our labor rep, our senior labor rep out of Saginaw, created and founded, and is seeing through this Boxes on Break. It's called Bob. This initiative is going to help feed 750 plus kids in the Saginaw Public School District with nutritious snacks and food to have over their holiday break, because we know so often kids rely on the schools for their breakfast and lunch. And when they don't have that routine, their nutrition fails. So SEIU sponsored a $500 sponsorship, and Joe and I will be traveling to Saginaw on Sunday, December 28th, to help build the boxes and kind of see the whole process, and we'll see them go out the door. And later we will have a full report on how happy and healthy these kids are. We have folks here on our board that do good things in their community too. Carmela sitting next to me, she is representative of the Flint Paraprofessionals Unit. They package turkeys and all the Thanksgiving Day fixings and boxes, and gave those out to community members in need. So everyone had a nutritious, healthy, fun Thanksgiving meal. Did not feel left out. And Jan Martin sitting over here, her students wrote an essay, and she was awarded $300 for her cheerleaders. And every little bit gives back, you know. Talk about sports participation. You know, we do so many different things. And sports participation sometimes gets left by the wayside. You know, well, that's sports, you know, that's not an immediate need. Well, it sure is, you know, that's team building, that's instilling that group mentality, and that togetherness in working towards a common goal. It's exercise, it's all the good things, and that's very important work that we do. We do highlight this in our newsletter monthly, but we want to start doing more. SEIU is a local, we want to start doing more in our areas. We want to start contributing more, and we want to help those who help others. And Yolanda, my goodness, I went down to her Battle Creek meeting. Clint and Yolanda invited me to go down and introduce myself and say hi. It was in October, and they were in the process of your clothing drive, I think, at that time. And her unit does so much good. And I heard actually when I joined in September about your community Easter egg hunt, and I cannot wait to go down there and participate in that. But really it is about, you know, making sure that our communities have what they need to succeed, and it puts the union in a positive light. We're not that union thug. We're not just somebody who gets something for nothing or protects the worker that shouldn't be protected. We are good stewards of our community. Bingo. Okay. Priorities. What we have for 2026, Greg and I kind of wanted to focus on what's coming next. You know, we have stability restored. We have almost a full staff. I'm going to say we have a full staff in place. I can't deny myself of that, and I can't deny ourselves of that. But, you know, what we can do now is we can shift our focus towards growth, sustainability, and long-term strength. We are going to work together as a staff, our team, and do some strategic planning, what we want to see out of internal, external organizing, how we can grow, and how we can just become better, and how we can serve you, the board. You know, I'm going to start talking about some of that we have, but it's really just keeping this local strong for the next generation. So we will start that strategic planning. We're going to do that probably right after steward training. I was trying to squeeze a lot of work in before Dave left, because he brings 36 years of experience and history. But I don't know if that's going to be possible. I definitely don't want to overwork our staff. We really do have to focus on the steward training, but really doing that strategic planning and team building. A lot has happened over 2025, our year 2025. The staff has endured quite a bit of trauma, and we need to heal from that. And how do we do that going forward? So doing some team building first, doing some strategic planning to follow, We want to set clear organizational goals. We want to improve that coordination across the units. You know, right now, to me, as I walk in September 2nd, it's almost like the state versus school and local government, and I don't like that feeling. I really want to blend what we have and celebrate each other's successes, celebrate each other's stories, and see how we can help each other when we're in need. We're here for a common goal, and that is to serve the member. We just have different work sites. So why can't we learn from each other, and what does that look like? Does it look like maybe another meeting of this nature or whatnot? But those are some things that we're going to look into, because we really want that space for collaboration, reflection, and that shared accountability, like what we've had today, you know, all morning and yesterday, actually. But really that just, you know, it builds a strong team, and it's just stronger representation for our members. So we're really excited about what 2026 is going to hold for us in those regards. Back to you, Greg.
So I kind of mixed this part of the talk with an earlier portion. So bear with me, it's a little bit same, but a very critical priority for us moving forward is intentional legacy planning, which, like I spoke about earlier, is we need to develop, you know, younger members that want to get involved and develop those folks into leaders that can fill these positions. And the fact of the matter is we have a lot of board members who are very near the end of their term. We have Carmela retiring soon, Jan retiring soon, Roberta is retiring at the end of this month. Yolanda's got to be coming along soon. I haven't heard anything official, but
3 years.
3 years. All right.
And the reality, I'm like 6 years away from retirement, which is crazy to think about. Rod's close to retirement. Like, yeah, all of us, you know.
You're Joe, Jake, and I are counting up, and you're counting down.
Well, the reality is, so a lot of these boards are going to lose the head, and
It's gonna hurt.
there aren't, some of the boards don't have a depth of leadership underneath them to fill the slots. So that's going to be one of the biggest obstacles for us to overcome, is we need to start identifying people and developing these people into the next leader boards. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves sitting here in a year or two going, we need to reorganize this place so that we can have enough leaders to fill seats, and that's not where we want to be, right? So all of us sitting here, I want basically a pledge to take look internally at your board and figure out, is there anybody here, are there seats that we need to fill, is there anybody that can fill those seats, is there anybody that I think we can develop into a leader, because that's the, as far as I see it, you know, aside from being fully staffed and lifting the load on our staff, developing the next board leaders is going to be the biggest concern. February, it's coming up. I didn't miss it, did I? I said the dates, February 21st and 22nd.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's okay. Did we talk about it in this one? We may not have. No, we haven't yet.
It's in here somewhere. We did? Yeah.
We're hammered.
Yeah, we got some definitely repeated stuff.
We did mention it very briefly.
Thanks, Jake. Jake
Okay.
always keeps track of us.
So across work sites, staff will continue to work with units to identify and develop new leaders. So that's, we're asking staff to also kind of help, because the staff are familiar with their work sites and their members.
They are.
Leadership transition cannot be left to chance, you know, which is pretty much how we've been doing it. And we just can't, so I know, and probably everybody sitting here knows, and probably everybody sitting on Zoom knows, that it is very hard to find volunteers to do this thing. But, you know, because the pay is so high, people will get really nervous about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they must be asking me to do so much work because the pay is so high, right? Yeah. So if we just relax and let chance fill these spots, we're going to have empty spots. So we need to develop these younger folks into leadership positions, and we need to be intentional about it. And that's partly the main goal of the ambassador program is to do just that. But I'm also asking you guys to look around and identify people and nudge them and say, hey, ambassador program, hey, come to the meetings, hey, because we're going to be in a tough spot in 5 years if this doesn't happen. So there's some tight ship stuff that I had here. I'm just going to skip over. But we have weathered a pretty rough storm this year, and things were not looking so good for a big portion of it. Transition to my leadership, and you know, like literally we had 4 staff people doing 8 staff people's work basically, and things were tight, and it was terrible. It's hard, and we've turned that around. It's getting better. We have much more accountability, much more open communication, and we are committed to keeping on with that direction.
Yeah.
We're in a good spot. We're in a good spot financially. We're in a good spot, you know, reputationally. We just need to identify the leaders that are going to come up next. Sorry, get on that.
He's literally messaging right now. You need to step up.
I know you're not kidding. That's why you're here. I was like, she's good. She needs to be on the. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So then I believe it's your turn, Claire.
I think it is.
Back to you, Claire.
Back to you, Claire. He's kind of skirting on his broadcast.
Yeah,
I have a radio face, not a
radio face.
Oh, not a TV.
Not a TV face.
Okay. Anyway, so I talked a little bit, you know, about organizing and growth, you know, with the stable foundation that we are creating. We are going to be able to focus our efforts on new organizing opportunities and strengthening that member engagement, and continue to ensure that our local grows in size, but more so in our influence. And that's really important, is our reputation and reclaiming that reputation. And we are doing it, and I am excited about it. It's really not just about the numbers. It's about building that power, building that influence, and protecting the future of our union. It's giving that legacy that Greg just talked about. So part of this transparency and communication, to strengthen the efficiency and communication and how we communicate just actually internally, but with our boards and with our members, is to put together some organizational charts. Again, I kind of talked about like the state and school and local government and not having this blended family, but it's like we really, even internally, it's still hard. Like, what are our regions and how did they come about and who's in what region and how does this all work? Because it is confusing. It's been confusing to me, so I can imagine our members trying to figure out where they fit in is confusing too. So we want to outline the roles and responsibilities for myself and to the staff, so you have an idea of what I do, what my oversight is, and what our staff oversight is, with assignments, the clarity, and like a streamline of our operations. And then I talked about like a regional organizational chart. So that talks about our regions and helping our members better understand how we coordinate our efforts statewide. And then an assignment-based organizational chart. And so that would be, you know, Claire is, you know, the executive director, and Joe is state of Michigan, and Jake is information services, and down the line. That way we don't have any gray areas, and we know who we can go to for support. But it would also be nice to have that organization or our board as well, and to have that information published on our website, and to be able to share that information effectively, you know, have contact numbers and all of that. Like, oh, hey, I need to get a hold of Fred, I need to get a hold of it. I know how to get a hold of you, instead of having to go, oh goodness, I have to bother Rod or I have to bother Kevin, just allowing for that two-way communication. So, okay, did I talk about the state council in this meeting, or was that the last meeting? It was this meeting too, right?
We combined.
Okay, yeah, I thought we did. Okay, so my next topic is the state council, but since I already covered it, But really, it's just the strategic planning group that begins next Friday, creating a good workflow and procedures on how to endorse and hold politicians accountable. That will help us collectively at the state council, which will help SEIU in Michigan. So only good can come from that, but really we just need to enhance our collaboration at the state council, and that, you know, will fall down to the local, again, improving that communication and making sure that our regions have our voices heard, because our issues are very different from the corrections officers, healthcare, and local ones. Okay. And, you know, really, it doesn't stop at the endorsements. Like I talked about, it's holding these folks accountable, because through community and engagement, political engagement, and community services, we can demonstrate that this local stands for working folks, working members, working people. Just like the information I read about Matt Hall and the, you know, the rally at the Capitol on Tuesday, it's standing up for what's right. And it's making that, hey, we're all there. You know, our voice is also your voice, because you can't be there. You're back at your home or your office. You can't get the time off. We got you. We got your back. And it's letting our members know that we're there for them in whatever way is a good way.
They should know that our money doesn't go.
Oh yeah, for sure. Our money does not go to political. Any dues dollar does not go to the political. Any political candidate, any political cause, that is collected separately through COPE. Yeah, and definitely not through your dues. Absolutely not. It is against the law. We cannot do that.
Okay, so one thing I think we should point out is that we're heavily supportive of like AFRAM, like we talked about earlier, and the API, the Asian Pacific Islander Caucus. We've had some recent interest in the Rainbow Caucus. I forget what do they call themselves? Lavender. Yeah, of the caucuses, they're the least organized, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have had at least 2 members that I'm aware of that have asked.
Yeah, you have any involvement in like in Puerto Rico or Guam?
Yeah, we have members in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, Canada.
We have our members in Puerto Rico. One of our conferences is actually in Puerto Rico.
Senate caucus, and he was a member of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to get back.
So yeah, and
more though.
a lot of good work happens in those caucuses as well. Like the API caucus has a real strong role in supporting the immigrants and advocating for the, you know, for the ICE agents to behave themselves and act proper and whatnot. And so, you know, there's these caucuses that we can support and send members to. They do good things. So
Didn't y'all go to Puerto Rico before?
Yes, that was the international, that was the international,
Convention, yeah.
yeah, it was my first convention. Which was a great
It was a good one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they haven't done it like that since.
all right.
Oh, and just real quick, sorry, can I add this, that I didn't talk about it at the executive meeting, and I just remembered it. You know, we said that we're going to send informational packets out to you. It will include a staff report from all areas in which they serve. So it's a year in review from all of our staff. You're going to be very proud when you read those. I was very proud and excited. I am ever so grateful to work with everyone on this team. You know, they've embraced me. I've embraced them. It's just a wonderful relation. They do it because they love it. They do it because they're passionate. They do it for the right reasons, and it shows in these reports. You all should be very proud of our staff. They have held this place together. They are the glue. I can't say, I just, y'all know, I love them. I love them. So I just had to get that in. Thank you. But yes, you will get those reports. If you have any questions, you can either reach out to me or you can reach out to the staff.
Yeah. Yep.
Just wanted to highlight, the API caucus is also safe member extension.
Yes.
VA outlet prep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was on the news. That was
Yeah. Thanks, Rabia.
national news.
Hey, you talk about holding our representatives to their, putting their
Yeah.
feet to the fire and holding them. I mean, for the people that are represented are state employees. They are essentially a state employee. They're working for the same people that we're working for.
And we point that out.
And I mean, don't we have?
So
I mean, the feel, I guess, would be to appeal to their consciousness of doing the right thing, because that's what they're elected into office for.
So we point that out that, hey, you're a state employee too, and that we are also taxpayers. So you work for us in a way. And so we point that stuff out, and we've actually told people, no, we're not giving you money this cycle. You didn't do anything for us last cycle.
I mean, are they just looking at it in the sense of when you have the conversations into political gain or loss, or are they actually looking at it from their perspective as a job?
The first.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make them realize that if they don't come through on their promises for us, it is a political loss for them.
I mean, maybe as a way when you have a meeting, maybe one thing to do maybe is possibly grab a couple people and say, hey, would you like to go and sit down and talk with the representative?
We have done that too.
And they still are the same.
Yeah. I think working, with the strategic plan that starts next Friday, we're going to increase our influence and we're going to increase our demands, which will make us more influential. So, we will have more power to hold them accountable. Not sure what that looks like right now.
So SEIU, the state council, was instrumental in getting Mary Sheffield into the Detroit mayor's seat. And you don't hear about that on the news, but we were huge. Without us,
that would not have happened.
Well, I don't think people.
Mary Sheffield,
Mary Sheffield, that's her.
I don't think people want to hear that, they're an official, someone who's elected to office, was supported by a union, because unions have been cast in such a poor light the last 10 years, 10, 15 years or so. But I mean, I think it's probably definitely important that they do know that, the promise, maybe not the finer details of the promises made or promises not kept, but that somebody has not met the expectation.
I think that you're absolutely right, and that ties into what Claire was saying about we need to get out there and do good things for the community, wearing our purple, and change the perspective on unions. Because if you think about it, your church is a union, your VFW hall is a union, your Knights of Columbus is a union. Whatever you make of the organization is the union, right? So why do we have such a negative connotation? It's because we're not putting out the positive messaging that we should be.
I mean, I belong to the Flint Elks, which is a military
That's
organization. We do
stuff.
We do stuff all through the year, and they don't really. I mean, they do a newsletter once every 2 or 3 months, but they don't really go out and talk about it. And I think that's the same way as the union does as well. I mean, and the VFW and American Legion are absolutely huge in what they do also.
Maybe we should talk to them, see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an American Legion member also, but there's stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Fundraisers, going to soup kitchens and food banks and things like that. That they just go in there, and it seems like they're covered on the news, but they don't really say, "Oh yeah, we're with
like the group here," but they don't.
The Battle Creek, American Legion. They don't really announce it as that. There may be one person say, "Yeah, we got a bunch of people here," but they don't really call that out as one of the things that this organization does frequently to try and promote, greater community.
Yep.
So this basically concludes the report for the annual meeting, but we would like to open up for questions or discussion, especially from those in attendance online, because folks here have been at this all day, so we should have most of our questions and comments out already. Yeah, if you don't want to talk, you can certainly drop the question or comment in the chat, and we'll read it out and try to address it. We may not have audio on your end, I'm told, so
Sorry.
so type your questions into the chat, please, or test it.
Testing 1, 2.
Is there-
Oh, yesterday was the broadcast, the test, or was it the radio? Mic people, event people, testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. So December
yeah.
12th is their day.
Is there something in the chat already?
There is,
That's from
Rubia.
Rubia.
and Brian Grahowski wrote something in
What
the
did
chat
he say?
earlier. Rubia said thanks.
Oh,
Jake read it. Rubia said thanks for pointing out API and that they're also
okay.
have done some work.
Okay, good.
What did Brian say? Lavender Caucus. Oh, okay.
He had another comment earlier, I thought too. Oh yeah,
This week. Yeah, the 18, make sure you, when you leave, you got your.
Oh, yeah, you- but did you know-
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Would be a good miracle
Yeah.
message.
I think a good did you know could be about Dave Barrett too, and that 20%
Oh, yeah.
decision.
Hear that, Howard? Got some miracle messages, topics.
I don't know, is Howard on?
He was.
Oh.
Oh, he may have had to sign off. Okay.
All right, anybody else, comments?
One thing is, like, you were talking about, sending something out to everybody, letting everybody know what the SEIU, what the tree looks like. And I
Yeah.
think something that it may also help is, when you break it down into, the technical, the radio, these other small parts that are a part of SEIU, a lot of people don't really know who those people are, where they work, what their phone numbers are, to get in touch with people, to want to know. That might be something really good to include in it. 'Cause I know Rod and I, I've been on the executive board of the technical for 7 years now, and Rod's been on there longer than that, but because I don't work in Metro region.
Right.
I don't know, there's a lot of people that I don't know because you work in such small groups
Uh-huh.
Sure.
that you don't get to know those, but I think it'd be something really good, if that came from the top down.
So,
This is
right.
what this is our branches.
So that would come like from your board itself to us, because I don't know who those people are. So that's going to be coming from Rod over there, in the board. So like talking to the executive officers at our next board meeting, which we'll have those out, I promise. But like, hey, get us this information, because I wouldn't have that information.
We're
at
working
all.
on a map of the school and local government regions, so we know, like,
We've-
this is region
yeah,
1, this is region 2, this is region 3.
Jake did that, so he did that already a month or so ago.
And we,
Got it at our last tour.
Yeah.
It was broken down.
Right.
Well, yeah, and then Jake
Yep.
just
so,
really.
and also, if you go on our website
Clarified
and you drill down to your unit, you're leaving all the other units' information, which is on our website, but you're separating it out and just looking at your unit. And I think all state employees are used to seeing the whole structure of their department, and then you can go zoom back out and see the structure of the,
Yeah, you have to click on each link, to see what if the tree gets bigger from the region.
right.
On the region.
So I think we're kind of all, for 20 years, we've seen that, on our computers. You can find somebody easily. Oh, I need to talk to so-and-so in DNR, and what department or what division. Okay, here they are. Okay, here's this person's out of their office. There's their supervisor. We call them.
Yeah.
That's the kind of what I think we could do, with our organizational structure.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
So that's in the
That's
back of my
procurement
mind.
leader.
That's one of the things
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that'll
Okay.
tie us together rather than separate us out when you drill down to your unit and you can only see your stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
Page
Yeah,
Yeah.
an org chart,
for the last,
and
newsletter.
an org chart and maps and phone numbers and names.
Years ago, we used to have a legislative committee and a retirement.
We're talking about a retirement community coming back.
Okay, because getting ready to retire and, every 5 years by the law for the retirement pension system, they're allowed to reevaluate the life expectancy. They changed those and didn't tell anybody. Well, I'm fighting that right now with the retirement system because that cost me $2,500 a year for the last change. And trying to tell me they notified everybody that was eligible. And I kept arguing at it to show me how it told me. Then they come back and they admitted, no, we only told the people that had applied for retirement. I says, I got 38 years and I'm eligible for retirement. You should have told me.
That's right.
So it's been a year so far. Now I finally getting set up for my hearing, my administrative hearing. They're telling me that can take up to another year. So, and I think the whole time letter campaigning back and forth with them, all the stuff I had to do, I think they were hoping I wouldn't make my timeline.
That's definitely using administrative timelines as a detriment.
Yes, and because in every letter it says, well, you got 30 days to respond.
How many days do they take to respond?
They're supposed to be 30, but I get 40 days. And
Exactly.
I have to send it back to me. You never gave me a response. They says, well, we never got a communication from you. And I said, I got a confirmed fax here. And then there's, well, we didn't get the fax on our end. And I said, I don't think you guys understand how a fax works. That's legal compared to an email. So but I just want to make sure everybody's aware that pay attention to if you're going to leave beneficiary of your pension, that you're looking at, you're running through the pension estimators.
What do we got there, Jake? We got a comment?
So, and I apologize if I mess up your name, but Nadir, I have a coworker, who has the same job as me, but he is not a union member and his job title is different from mine. Is fighting for his union membership and changing his title to engineer or something out of the union role, or is there a different process? I'm just curious about the process, even though I've not talked to him about this. I just think it's better to have more union members in my agency / my section.
So whether or not they are a union position is up to
Employer.
the employer. So if what I think I'm reading, if they're a NERI designated by the employer, it just means that their particular job wasn't, in often cases, didn't exist when the contracts were written up. So a new job was created after the contracts were written up, and now they are NERI. So that's how a lot of people are NERIs. And then, of course, supervisors or certain financial people that can't be in a union, like Ashley, are also NERIs with the state. So depends on what he is. If he's a supervisor of some kind, there's no chance, no how. If he's a NERI because the position didn't exist, there's a chance, but it would take a vote of all of the NERIs in that position to unionize. And we have had campaigns like that in the past we've had 2 so far, to organize the NERIs, and we lost both of those campaigns by like 1% of the vote. We spent a lot of money to try to organize those folks, and we lost the vote by 1%. So we could certainly do that again, but it's going to take organizing.
Yep.
Internal organizing, like Claire spoke about earlier. And it's going to take an evaluation of like, okay, how much money are we going to invest in this, and are we going to win this vote?
Okay.
Brian, last comment. Brian says that he hears that the state employer is blocking access to the retirement page at work. People are for PPL plan, pension details, etc. Any complaints on that?
So I had to access it for my financial advisor last week or the week prior, and it was in fact down, but it is back. So I was able to go in. I think I tried to go 2 days in a row, and I was able to get in the 3rd day.
Let me say that because I got an email I think it was either last week or the week before. And the Office of State Employer told me to contact Voya for my retirement planning, and not through the retirement committee, or I don't know if it's just how NDOT is doing it, but
ORS.
yeah, ORS. Yeah, that's that was the email was from them telling me to go through Voya for my retirement planning. I think that's probably because our Roth IRAs, our 401ks are kind of 457, but those all go through Voya now and not through the state. So I don't.
Yeah, it sounds like a difference between pension and 401k.
Yeah, no, it's both. They kind of basically like consulted it all out to Voya.
Right.
They tell you everything that you're supposed to do, where it used to be ORS with, you sign up to go have a meeting, sit down with the group with ORS, and they would explain all the benefits to you. Now everything goes through Voya.
Interesting. I hadn't heard that. Maybe something we should stick our retirement committee on.
In our division meetings, we've been having the Voya guys show up. We will schedule times for our employees to talk to them. And then if there's free time, folks can show in there, but that is what we do for our division meetings. Voya guys show up. Highly recommend it. It's been well received.
Have you ever had that happen with you, Rob? Where they actually sent, because one other thing I get from them is that I get an email once a week from some other company saying, contact, you want, blah, 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 for someone to come meet you, to discuss your retirement planning, blah, blah, blah. And then I get the letter, and then I get the letter from Voya telling, or from the state telling us to contact Voya.
Do we have any more comments on the?
We can talk about this offline. Let everyone go. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. We appreciate your time very much. Any feedback, comments that you have, let us know.
Make a motion to end the meeting.
Okay.
Motion to end the meeting.
It's over. It's gonna snow. We want everyone to get home safely. Thank you for joining us.
This was good. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. We're a team. I will. Thank you. Give you a hug.
Don't forget to give me.
I can't believe you got me.
You can't believe I got